What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Goblin Town Reviews, where today we're doing a review of A Tear in the Fabric of Life EP by Knocked Loose.
2021.
2021. So this is probably, well, no, I can't say it's the most recent thing we've done because we did Necrogoblicon. But yeah, this is pretty new. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I can go ahead and start. I guess so. My first introduction to Knocked Loose was Mistakes, like Fractures. I don't know, I just saw some reaction on YouTube to it. And I listened to it, started listening to it a bunch. And I started to, I don't know, I just really like that one song, and I never dug in too much. I mean, I heard Counting Worms. I feel like that was kind of, maybe that blew him up. But so I was excited to do this one because I don't know, I really like that song. And some of their stuff I've heard hasn't been like quite in the same energy. I mean, like they're evolving their sound, and I think that was on their like the Different Shades of Blue was, I don't know, their most recent album. So that specific energy that they've been bringing in their more recent stuff. I was kind of wondering if they're going to have it here, and I feel like they really do. I really like the energy.
Right.
The way, like the contrast of it all, like it's all like upbeat and in your face. But the way that it like does change tempo and stuff, it keeps me very like pulled in.
Yeah.
And like the short burst. I mean, the fact that it's like that hardcore punk. The songs are shorter in nature. It just I don't know. It keeps my attention very well.
Come on, baby.
This is my cat Frankie.
So wait, so the other Knocked Loose stuff that you heard, does it sound pretty much like this EP, or is it like more punk rock, or can you remember what those tracks sounded like?
It's just like I feel like this is just more like cleaned up. Maybe
a little bit of a higher fidelity production as far as like the mix and the
and something specifically just like the evolution of his vocals. Especially on this EP, they are so like harsh. Like the fact that, so it's like a concept. It's about like a guy, or I mean, I guess just a person who kills their bride in a car accident. And then they have to live with that. And the intensity of his vocals, like the screams, it's visceral. It's just like, it sounds like that. The emotions that could bring on, the intense like anguish just throughout the whole thing. And it's like clean.
Yeah, I was thinking that too while I was listening to it. I was like, man, his vocals are really grating.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of extreme vocals, but he's basically like shrieking like the entire time, and
I don't know how he mixes that much like voice into like that intense of a scream.
Yeah, it sounds like really taxing on his vocal cords, but it gives for a really raw, visceral listening experience though, because it's just so intense. All of the music is just super intense. We were talking about like Knocked Loose in general, and I know you don't have a lot of experience with grindcore yet, because you haven't really delved into that genre yet, but if you look at the Wikipedia entry on grindcore, it describes it just as a fusion of hardcore punk and heavy metal.
Okay.
So straightforward enough, right? So, and I did some research on this band, and the guitar player described the sound as death metal influenced hardcore.
Okay.
Which would make it like grindcore. That's what I was thinking when I was listening to this. I was like, man, this sounds like some fucking Discordance Axis, or like Nasum, or maybe some Napalm Death. Obviously, the vocals are different, but as far as that grinding like intensity of the sound, and like how ferocious the sound is and how unrelenting it is. It just reminded me of that subgenre. So I don't know if we may have people that stumble upon this video that might want to argue that point and be like, no, it's not grindcore, it's hardcore, blah, blah, blah. But to me, you know, based on this EP, my limited experience, and that's why I asked you about their sound, because I wanted to know if they started out more on that punk side of things and then kind of evolved into a more metal sound over time. Or, and maybe you can't answer that question, I don't know, but
I mean, I'm trying to think.
This seems like a metal album to me.
I think there's just like well, and I said something about kind of production, because it sounds heavier, but I feel like it's just richer. It's just that production.
Yeah.
Really, like, I don't know, emphasizes the guitars and shit.
Yeah, and you can hear the bass really prominently on this album. There's not any like bass noodling or anything, but there's a lot of body to all of the riffs, and it's because that bass guitar is holding down all of those bass lines and giving the songs that depth, you know, that they should have for maximum impact.
Yeah.
So, but I really thought this was like one of the best EPs I've heard in a long time, and I don't listen to very many EPs because there aren't very many EPs that come out honestly that are like big name bands. Usually like a band will start out with an EP and then like release albums after, like studio albums. So a lot of EPs that drop are by brand new artists, and I haven't heard many of those in the last like 5 or 6 years, but I was really impressed by this thing.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about the video real quick?
Yeah. Well, actually, first I was gonna say I don't have a lot of experience listening to whole albums, really. Like, I have to really like a band or something, or just like hear a lot of songs and then figure out which album that sound that I like is really coming from, and then I'll listen to like that one maybe.
Yeah.
But in our escapades doing like this channel and me like listening to more albums and stuff, this is definitely my favorite experience so far. I mean,
cool.
like this album.
Cool.
Just overall. But yeah, the video, it was cool. So yeah, like I said, it's a concept. Car crash, kills the bride, guy lives with that. It's like this kind of like claymation type animation, sort of.
Yeah.
Or I mean maybe straight up. Very ominous. It's black and white. I thought the visuals go very well. There's a lot of flashing in it, but like with the whole like and shit, it matches it. And the intensity. I mean, you described it. You said it sounds like the music that would play over a car crash, and it's literally what the album is.
Yeah, that opener, man, Where Light Divides the Holler, is pretty cool, because it starts with the sound of the guy in the car, and he's playing the radio. Sounds like an AM radio he's got on, and then like you hear the tires screech, and then it's like as soon as there's impact, as soon as he like crashes, that first power chord comes in. Yeah, it's just like so goddamn heavy, man. This is like, that's probably like why I was so harping on the grindcore thing, because this is just like, the album is so fucking heavy, and I've never listened to a lot of hardcore punk, so I don't know, maybe a lot of hardcore punk sounds like this, but yeah, the album is so intense and raw. I love that guitar tone. It's so thick and it's so dense, but it's not like a wall of guitars like you get a lot of bands try to do.
It's groovy.
It is groovy, yeah. It's very like mosh-inducing, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No.
Could you imagine seeing this band live? And the mosh pit would be freaking incredible, dude.
I'm like, I don't know. I've always, I don't go to a lot of live shows, but I've always wondered, you know, if I'd want to mosh. I like the intensity, and whenever I'm like alone, I thrash about. But like whenever I listen to like Knocked Loose specifically, and like this EP, like I'm like the hardcore style,
yeah,
specifically, where they're just like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I might be okay getting like donked in the head. I mean, that shit's intense, but like, get it out.
Yeah, and this is a great album to get your anger out on.
Yeah.
I could imagine people taking this to the gym, and just like
Mm-hmm.
doing bench press to this freaking record.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. It's pretty cool. But one thing you brought up earlier was about the drums.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the drummer did a great job, like maintaining a certain level of play. But what he did that really was cool was he diversified his playing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always the same drum pattern.
Yeah.
So the pacing of the songs were constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 minute you'd have like a pretty straightforward like 4/4, and then it would go into a blast beat, and then he would slow it down again. Then he'd do something completely different, and then there'd be a few fills in there, and then like it was just all over the place.
The whole, just like the beginning of God Knows, the first like 30 seconds, maybe not even, so much happens. Like there's like, it's like drums like it like all of a sudden it just slipped like how it actually sounds in my head. But I don't know, it's just like, it's like drums and then guitar, like the dissonant like and it goes back and forth, and then when he gets to the just like the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
That classic metal chug,
Yeah. But then it just like that goes away, and I'm like, no, bring it back. But then they just keep up the intensity and
No, I wrote
introduce new exciting stuff.
I wrote that in my notes. I said drums constantly switching it up, keeping it fresh.
Yeah,
and that's really like one of the best, strongest aspects of this EP is like the performance of the drummer is just so awesome.
Yeah, I liked some of the guitar stuff thrown in there. Some of the more maybe not melodic, both melodic and also just kind of the higher pitch stuff. The dissonant chords they stick out well. But like on like Forced to Stay at the end, the little like ding like tremolo guitar part.
About. Yeah,
that part's dope as fuck.
Yeah, there every once in a while there'd be like these dissonant rings of like guitar. It sounded like, to me, it reminded me of a machine that was like malfunctioning.
Okay.
Like if you listen to it, you'll even hear stuff that sounds like buzzers going off, and it's all guitar effects, and there's just it's super dissonant. These dissonant chimes of like feedback from the guitars. It just makes it feel like a chaotic experience. You're like totally on edge, on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
But it did. It sounded like they were breaking something down, like in Office Space when they take the computer onto the field and they just smash it with baseball bats. That's what I thought of when I was listening to this record. I was like, dude, they're like destroying technology with this record, man. Contorted in the Fail was one of my favorites too, man. It's just like there's so many good tracks on this thing. Again, there were some gutturals mixed in and some breakdowns on this track. You don't remember, but
or wait, is that the one where he's like when he just hits like the
switches up his vocals just a little bit. And
he gets rid of the voice.
Yeah.
It's just the pure fry.
Yeah.
No, that was cool to hear. It threw me off at first, honestly. I wasn't expecting it. I like the mix of who I think it's one of the guitars or the guitar player that does the lower one. Sometimes he sounds a lot like Cookie Monster.
I gotcha.
Like, the weight of the yeah. There's just lots of dynamic stuff. It's really, I don't know, if you're looking for something that's going to grab your attention and hold it, like this kind of, I think, forcefully does that. If you're looking for something, if you have an issue listening yourself, this will pull you in.
You know what's funny about this is that people who are like afraid of heavy metal, that don't want to listen to it, stuff like this is what they imagine all heavy metal sounds like. It's like some fucking just brutal like guitars and some dude screaming his head off. This is what they imagine it sounds like.
Yeah.
And like we found it, man. We found the sound.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, see, but if you showed this to them, they'd be like, okay, but it's good though. Even without like introducing them slowly.
There'd be no way if you were trying to introduce somebody to extreme music, there'd be no way this could be the first thing you showed them. There'd be no way they would like it. I'm just saying, man, that you got to ease people in, man. You got to warm them up. If you're not ready for something like this is going to hit you hard, man.
I will say, his voice, you can understand the lyrics. Something like Counting Worms actually might not be too bad. Because, I mean, it's such a short song.
Yeah, I have to listen to that still.
Yeah, it's literally like a minute long. And it's just like the breakdown.
This makes me want to get into their music, though.
Yeah.
Like this EP, good job, Knocked Loose. You made a great EP.
Mm-hmm.
This makes me listening to this and reviewing it really makes me want to listen to more of their music.
Yeah.
Because I went through a heavy grindcore phase. And I didn't like everything. And some of it was very inspired by hardcore punk. Like you could hear those punk rhythms.
Yeah.
And even the vocal styling sounded sort of like what you'd expect from punk.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fused with metal at the same time. So, yeah, I was trying to like broaden my horizons and get into like some other styles of rock. So, but yeah, I listened to like Napalm Death, Cephalic Carnage, Nasum, Discordance Axis, like all these bands. And then this is just another one that I can add to the list of like hardcore metal fusion bands that I really like. So it's not for everybody, but it's definitely I think it appeals to sort of like some sort of like primal rage that exists like within everybody.
Yeah.
Where you just want to get some aggression out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like people have screamed like that in their like most stressed moments.
Yeah.
If you're just I don't know, just being alone, whenever you have to let it out. That's what his voice sounds like.
Yeah.
And he's able to maintain it and not
How
blow it out.
How do you think he's going to maintain this over like a tour, though? Do you think he'll be able to do that like every night?
I feel like he has been. I don't know.
Or maybe he needs to like drink some hot tea in the morning to like keep his...
I watched a live performance. He drank some water in the middle of a song. So.
And that was it?
I mean, that's a good sign.
Did he sound like this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Pretty much.
Man.
I mean, it's like a live, right? I mean, things get like maybe cut short. Like, a little bit, but like no, it sounded all there.
Maybe my favorite song on the EP is "Permanent," the closer.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I can get songs that are a bit longer, I like most of
from
these
genres like this.
Yeah, from genres like this, because most of the songs are short. They're on the extreme end. They can be about 45 seconds to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be like 35 songs on an album,
right?
And they're all like in that time range. If you get something that's like 2.5, 3 minutes, that's considered a longer song.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this one was almost 5 minutes, and I just thought the guitar work and the drums were amazing, more atmospheric to me than the rest of the EP. But I was still at the end. I was still hoping for like one more really sinister breakdown, though, to kind of like send me off, you know.
Yeah. Well, after that Void Haven, I feel like the end of the song, it kind of. I mean, you get more atmospheric.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just like hit me with the slow one, just.
Yeah, man. Oh, that would have brought the house down, man. But the whole album, the whole EP is so freaking extreme. Like, how do you really like have a crazy closer, right, to an EP like this when every song is just like balls to the wall, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Calm Down was actually maybe better. Well, I mean, I think it works well because it's like the contrast to that extremity. In the video, I really liked how the video ended. They're like skeletons come together. Because I feel like it's almost like you're like, oh, he's going to bring her back to life. But obviously that's not going to work. He has to die. He has to whatever. He has to permanently die to be with her. But the visuals of like the skeletons, the black and like the white flames.
The video
really
was
cool.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying when we watched it, I wish more bands would do stuff like that. Have like visuals to go along with their albums. Not like music videos, but like extended like movies that you could watch.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be dope? That's so much more time and effort to do that, but I think it really pays off, man. Especially if it's a cool concept, and the whole video, the imagery was just like an incredible, really made you think. And yeah, I guess it is kind of a sad story though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But overall, I guess I really enjoyed this EP. I don't have too much else to say.
Yeah, no, it's kick ass. Well, I don't know. And anything they could work on, I'm sure they'll take it into consideration.
Well, I think one thing that would be cool would be back to the vocals. I don't think I like his vocals, but if he could like vary up his vocal styling a little bit. Yeah. And throw some diversity in there, whether it be like, squeals, gutturals, cries, and then the sort of shrieking that he does. Yeah. That would be kind of cool because you can implement different vocal styles for different songs and different moments in different songs to help capture different emotions. And when it's just one thing the whole time through, it's kind of like, But that's like a minor thing, a critique. I don't really have many criticisms of this EP. I thought it was excellent. So
yeah, no, I actually tried to sit there and like honestly think of something, and I was like, more. There's already so much, but I'm like, I don't know, like, what would a solo sound like? Well, I don't know, just try getting more experimental with it, but that's like hardly even a criticism.
No, to me, this sounds like 2000s grindcore, and that's like my favorite era, for that type of music. So yeah, this is like right up my alley, I loved it. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe below. Let us know what albums or EPs you'd like to see reviewed up on the channel. And for Goblin Town Reviews, my name is Scott.
I'm Brandon.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace.